So welcome everyone to Twitter Spaces. We have Continuum today and Jason Curry, the CEO and co-founder, with us. And yeah, we'll just be discussing on the topic of what lies ahead for both Bluejay and Continuum separately. But yeah, as with most of our Twitter Spaces, we'll just intro the speaker and get to know a bit more about the product, in this case Continuum. And yeah, afterwards we'll dive into what's coming for 2023 in terms of our developments. Just to get started, Jason, welcome, and let's get to know you a bit better. How did you get into crypto, and how do you get into the idea of starting Continuum?
Sure. Let's see. I got into crypto originally like in 2013, or I think even once earlier than that. But I had a design agency or like app development studio in New York City called Worry Free Labs. So we designed and developed like mobile apps. And going back, I had that for 10 years. But we did a lot of pretty famous apps just because we were just in the startup space. We were meeting with all kinds of startup clients. So we did the original Fitbit app with James Park, I think that obviously did very well. And then like other apps like Nest. And then we did a bunch of stuff for, I don't know, just different interesting brands. A lot of cool startups that like never made it really big, but then other brands too, Clinique and Anheuser-Busch, I don't know, Goldman Sachs, like companies like that. And let's see. Oh yeah, then I sold that company. So it was pretty cool. So we had, I think 30 people in an office in New York City, but then we worked with 70 people at least outside of the United States, like that were contractors. And so that ties into what I'll tell you later about Continuum. That's how I got interested in Continuum. But to finish up this part of the story, then I sold that agency like around 2013. And then so like for a decent amount of money. But then so I was trying to think of what to do next. And then that's just when I saw Bitcoin, and I think Mt. Gox was out then, and there was like Cryptsy was another platform. So I just started like investing money in cryptocurrency then. And there were like 200 tokens, but back then you called them altcoins. But actually Dogecoin was out at that point too. And it was pretty interesting. It came out so early. Yeah, so I bought a bunch of those, but then I think I got out of it again because there were just issues with like Mt. Gox had issues and went down. So I can't remember all the details, but I lost some money there and I took some out. And then also then right shortly after that, I think in 2014, there was an issue with Cryptsy, which was another exchange. I don't know if anyone's familiar with any of these exchanges. The only other one that was around at that time that I did keep my account with was Coinbase. So luckily Coinbase launched at that time. Ripple was around too, but that ended up having an issue too. And a lot of people lost their tokens with that. But yeah, so yeah, I bought a lot, but I ended up selling it a few years later. And I always go back and calculate, oh man, if I would have kept all my coin and everything else, it'd be worth like $1 billion for sure. Because I had some of the Bitcoin I bought was like I think the lowest I ever bought it at was like 13 cents. So would have had a lot. But anyway, yeah, exactly.
It's crazy to even say, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, the one time before I sold my company, we bought a little because we had a designer, or actually a front end developer, Victoria, who's in the Ukraine, and we couldn't pay her because they couldn't take PayPal back then, and I think we had to use, I don't know, some other payment service, I think from Israel or something, but that didn't work. So we found a way, like just we that's when we found out about Bitcoin, and I think we found about it on Slashdot, if anyone remembers that website. But I think we owed her like 1,400, like $1,400 in US currency. And at the time, that was like 60,000 Bitcoin. So I think we bought that, and then I gave her that, the 60,000 Bitcoin. But then like in 2017, when Bitcoin went up to, what was it? I can't remember what it went up to. I think like 17 or $18,000. Yeah, I emailed her and I'm like, oh my God, did you keep that Bitcoin? But no, she had cashed it out immediately when she got it. But that's crazy. That would have been bonkers. But anyway, yeah, enough about cryptocurrency. So I got out of it then because of the whole, I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to be losing my money. And I kept a little bit, like just where I kept the stuff, like the info on paper. But anyway, but then when Ethereum came out, like in later years, then I got more interested because then it was like actually like something you could do, or the world computer, and you could build things on it and all that. But yeah, sorry, back to Continuum. So yeah, when I had my agency, I liked working with people like all over the world and freelancers in particular. And I just like the way they work versus some like American and European people. They're just a lot, like in the United States, a lot, not everybody, you can't really generalize, but a lot, when we had our agency, we had a lot of people that worked for us that wanted like really super high salaries that weren't always that good, but they just were like felt entitled. But then we'd work with people like all around the world, like in Ukraine or in Southeast Asia and a lot of other places, and they just seem more like even like more skilled than the people we were hiring in the United States. But then obviously they had much lower costs of living in their respective countries, but they also just seem to be like better, like more responsible people and had better work ethic and things like that. But anyway, so I enjoyed working with those people, but we noticed whenever we brought people to work for our company, we had to train them on certain things just fit like the tools that we used, our philosophy of working with clients. So every time we hired a new person, which was very often, like multiple people, like every week, we started creating like a formal process. Here are the tools we use the Figma or Zeppelin and things like that, or we use these different tools for project management like Jira or Trello, things like that. And then also like soft skills of working with clients, like what are their expectations, how to best make clients happy and all that stuff. So we went through that with everybody, just training them to be like better at working with like clients in the US. And yeah, so I mentioned we sold the company, but then afterward, I thought it'd be really cool to create Continuum as a way to help people in developing countries have the information and the skill set and everything to like really compete like globally and make a living as a digital worker, as we say. Yeah, and then I wanted it to be free, which we've made it free. And how we do that, I can get into more details, but I think I can leave it at that. So my goal really is to make, I don't know, I think people outside of the US deserve a lot of opportunities, or just as many as they do in the United States. And I think to some extent we have that with platforms like Fiverr and Upwork and stuff like that, but I think it's going to keep growing and growing. So our goal is just to help people get the skills and whatnot to compete in the global market.
Yeah, that's really lovely. Like your initial experience building apps, and then from there, your experience working with freelancers across the world, and how you want to empower them now with a continuum. Yeah, that's beautiful. I read into your white paper recently and did a small thread, and yeah, I really love what you guys are building towards.
Thank you.
But yeah, I guess for that, you guys are targeting freelancers across the world, and to your point where they can earn a more competitive wage when they work overseas remotely. Yeah, I do see that happening as well. Some Vietnamese that I've met, where if they were to just work in their own jobs in their own country with their currency, which is currently depreciated, it's actually very hard to keep up with living expenses. But some of them who get to work remotely and get paid in crypto, USDC, they definitely get much more competitive and better living standards when they convert over to VND. So what you guys are doing definitely has a place in this world. And yeah, I guess for now currently you guys already have a mobile app, which is quite insane in terms of most crypto companies, because a lot of them talk about mobile as like the next big adoption trend, especially for this year. And you guys already have an app, so you guys are far ahead. But yeah, if you can get into what spurred you guys to start an app in the first place versus just leaving it on the browser, that's way ahead of most crypto protocols already. Yeah.
Yeah, glad to hear you say that. Yeah, and I think that realization came from a lot of people. So we were just when we talked to people like in other countries, I guess some of the examples were speaking with people in Nigeria and Kenya, and I think we'd spoken to some people in India as well in different parts, away from the bigger cities, but like where not everyone has, a lot of people in those places don't have a laptop initially, but there is more. People have phones more often. There's 4G coverage now. But another interesting thing is too, like even the people that don't have phones, they like get together around their phones if only one person has a phone. So they'll do a lot, like in the way in America, and I would imagine Singapore too, or like more developed countries gathered around their TV set when decades past or whatnot. Yeah, so I think there's the opportunity with mobile. That's why it's important we do mobile first, is because we could see a lot of people having access to Continuum in the, I guess, developing countries, but even away from the cities where they don't have a laptop to get started on or a computer. So I feel like that's the first way that we can get them, so they can train themselves on their phone with the app, on their Android in most cases. and then at least get a jump start there, and then they can work their way up to getting something, doing some work there, and then growing and getting a laptop or whatnot. And then also we have the component of paying people. So that is another thing that factored in. So through our tokenomics, ideally, if someone is like learning about full-time on our platform, and that could even be like, I don't know, 10 to 15 hours a week. Our goal is for them to earn through our token like $20 a week, so $80 a month. And yeah, in places like Singapore or the United States, that doesn't sound like anything at all, but I know in a lot of developing countries that can make a big difference. Like you mentioned, Vietnam. Like with my previous company, we had one of our like key employees was living there, and I know the average cost. I can't remember the exact number, but I think it was something like $50 or $60 per month was like the average income. Oh yeah, because at one point it was funny. His name was Thong, and I think we were paying him something like $9,000 or $10,000 a month. But he was like a very lead senior developer with like other people below him. So like in the United States, someone like that would be getting paid like $20,000, $22,000, $24,000 a month, and he was getting like $9,000 a month. And I remember having a conversation with him. I'm like, oh, dude, because he never asked for a raise or anything. And I'm like, is that enough? Are you making enough money or whatever? And then he was just like, yeah, that's when he told me like the average someone makes here is $50 a month or something. I'm like, okay, so you're like doing really well. And he didn't live like in Hanoi or anything else. I forgot where he lived, but he was like very far away from like the city. So anyway, it's sort of inspired by cases like that, but I could just see people, I don't know, just evening out like things with the world. Because I think a lot of times people get paid for some things in the US too much, especially when you're comparing like the same things, like if designers or sometimes developers and things like, I think developers too, yeah. But yeah, I just see people that are really talented outside of the United States making like a fourth or a fifth of some people that are like in the US. And I don't know, I think we can do a better job of balancing that. Yeah, it's one of the aims of the platform, Continuum.
Yeah, I see that. And yeah, you're right. Actually, even 80 a month, it's a lot to a lot of the developing countries where their average monthly wage is in the hundreds. So that's like a good percentage already, and definitely can help raise their living standards.
Yeah.
And yeah, currently the to earn model has been fairly unsustainable especially for GameFi. So I understand you guys have built it slightly differently to make it more sustainable in terms of the buy and sell pressures. Maybe you can elaborate more on that. UM token. Oh yeah, how do I say it? You just
I usually say UM. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, I know there's different words, but some people say, but yeah, so we haven't really, I don't know, I usually say UM, but anyway, yeah. Yeah, so we definitely built.
UM is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, UM is fine. Go ahead. Sorry.
Excuse me. Yeah, so so there's different ways we address like sell pressure for sure. I think the biggest thing we do for that is just our token release schedule is just very, what's the word called, staggered. So we don't have like where there's any given month over the course of 5 years. So that's like our extended release timeline over 60 months. So every key person involved or stakeholder. So we have 50% of the tokens go to the community, and those, if people earn those, the release schedule for those is the fastest, because we don't want people that are earning their tokens to have to like not be able to sell them. Pretty much everybody else, their tokens are locked up, like investors and the core team. But I'll start with saying the community first. So we have the community rewards. Yeah, and 50% of our tokens go to that. And we release about almost like 8 million of those per month. We release them weekly, 2.some million per week. And those go to people that have taken courses in the app or done other things to earn tokens. They earn gems in the app, which is like a proxy to getting the tokens, and we distribute those once per week. So there's no vesting on those. There is some lockup on some of them, like we automatically stake 10% of them. But then the other people in our allocation table, various investors, various rounds in like the founding team and advisors and things like that, we're all on a much more restricted like vesting and lockup schedule. And then all of those groups are done on different timelines too. So basically we just try to evenly distribute the release schedule over that 60 months. So That way there's no time when someone is all of a sudden going to get like this huge windfall of tokens, because anytime that happens, there's going to be someone's going to want to sell some of those. So that's what we've done to address that. There's some other things as well. I think the automatic staking of tokens is another thing, of 10% of them that the community gets or is restricted by the 10% lockup. And then also we do incentivize people to voluntarily stake their tokens, because then that can take place of the sell pressure, because that gives them some way to make use of their tokens. And then there's also utility of the tokens. So the tokens can be used within the app. And so that, I think, alleviates some of that sell pressure as well. So overall, we did a lot of that. We did, let's see, A, B, C, D. We did 4 allocation models, and we ran through like simulations and all that of what it would look like, and went also by like best practices of other like white papers and other tokenized communities and protocols and whatnot, and saw what were some of the things you could move a little bit that would affect the what's the word I'm trying to say, like reduce the sell pressure and other factors of things that we want to have happen and don't want to have happen. Yeah. So anyway, we put a lot of work into our white paper. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. And other than that, you guys are also gating in terms of number of users allowed on the platform, right? With what's that? Excess NFTs, right?
Oh yeah, sure. So we have a few different types of NFTs. Yeah, so then those will be for like access to courses, or access to creators may have a tier of special access, that an NFT could get someone the privilege of accessing. Like if someone has a cohort course or something, they might offer an NFT comes along with finishing that like more in-depth course, like a live course or a workshop, and then they would get an NFT that would give them like special access to that creator. In general, we have like platform access NFT as well. So yeah, that's what we're doing with those. And we have those all like clearly laid out in our white paper. And we'll eventually be moving those to the website to make it more just very clear on what we're doing. The reason we haven't put it all on the website yet is that we were still, up until actually very recently, like refining exactly like everything that we're going to do with the tokens and NFTs and the white paper, or finishing up the white paper. But yeah, we're ready to finalize all those things now. So we're ready to like make those public on the website and in the app.
Yeah, lovely. And I guess, yeah, since you guys are finalizing things, for us, I guess, general users right now, if we were to access the app, what can we do? And yeah, is there anything we can earn at the moment that will help us when moving forward for the year?
Oh yeah, sure. So we have content in the app now. So you could definitely download the app or go to the website, and we have courses on the website as well. Yeah, so you can take any of the courses. Right now you earn XP, experience points, and gems, and you'll keep a tally of those in your account. You could sign up for an account on our website or in the app, and you could sign up using like Apple or Gmail, or get a magic link, or if you have a wallet and you want to connect your wallet, you could do that, which I guess your audience is probably going to be more Web3 savvy, but we discovered a lot of people on our platform. We're definitely onboarding tons of people into Web3, because like only 10% of our audience comes in with a wallet or really knowing much about Web3. And when you create an account without a wallet on our platform, we generate for you a custodial wallet that you can use, that's used in the app. But we do give directions on how to find your private key so that you can pull that into a third-party wallet if you want to. But as far as what you can do on the app, yeah, we have courses on the app from brands, courses from creators. You could take any of the courses on our platform. You earn XP, you earn gems, you earn NFT for completion. You can engage in discussions. So you can do all that stuff now. And the XP controls, so your XP never go away. That sort of tracks like your overall progress in the app. And then your gems that you earn each week, those get cashed out, because they get, I don't know if cashed out's the right word, but they get converted to tokens each week. And you have a 24-hour window that you can redeem them for tokens, otherwise, or you can let them stay in your account and redeem them at another time. But in the first weekly from gems to we haven't done yet. So that'll be actually not next week, but the week after. I believe we have the plan for it. Yeah, the week of the 6th. So that'll be the first time we'll be converting gems to And I think that covered it. So you were pretty much asking like, what can you do in the app now? So that's
Yeah,
that's fine.
let's cover that. But wait, you just said next week we will be able to convert our gems into UUM. So does that mean UUM is live next week?
It will be, yeah. And so there's a distinction there. So it's not so we're creating the token, but we're doing it as it'll be for pretty much just for the community. We're not going to be doing like a public, like a token generating event yet, where it's going to be available like to like non-insiders. It's not going to be on a decentralized exchange or centralized exchange or
Okay.
anything like that. Yeah. Not until later in the year.
Yeah, okay, understood. But yeah, I guess but this is huge news, I guess, for anyone who has the app now,
Sure.
who already is generating gems and XP. But yeah, it can be converted to the tokens by next week. So that's massive.
Yeah.
We should promote this and push for more activity.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, but really love the courses, and the UI is really smooth. I guess it comes from your experience building apps in the past, is it? Or
Yeah, I would say so. Like it's influenced by that, but I would definitely give the credit to other people on our team for doing the design. Like definitely Dean on our team, he's our head of design, UX and UI design. He's in Ukraine. And Jamie before that, I think she was really instrumental in the design direction. I feel like I contributed to it as well, but I would say mostly Jamie with the general creative direction, Vadim for sure on all the UX and UI stuff, and then Brian I think is very engaged also, or very involved in the UX and UI stuff. He definitely works closely with Vadim, and especially on the more of the UX stuff. Like if the flows or whatnot don't make sense, or if things are illogical, or like placing how you access menus and whatnot. Yeah, that's more people than myself have been involved in that.
yeah, that's great. Like I've mentioned regarding, I guess, trends for this year, and a lot of them talk about crypto adoption booming from having a mobile app, and also reducing the friction in terms of onboarding users, which you guys have already done as well. Being able to onboard users using email addresses and creating a wallet for them to store their tokens, until they get their own wallet. That's really great. And and already the app is fully functional. UI is hella smooth. Able to earn gems, XP, and NFTs from the courses. Yeah, I guess for us that everyone is here for, what lies ahead. So now we already have the courses available. We have gems and XP to earn, and the NFTs as well. What else can we expect from Continuum's app from here on out?
Yeah, sure. The big plans for this year are to roll out the token, which I think will come later in the year publicly, where that people can actually go and sell it on a marketplace. But they'll be getting the tokens, like I mentioned, the end of next week or the beginning of the week after. Actually, we'll do the first conversion event, and then it'll be weekly after that. I think as far as the roadmap goes for the app, first I'll tell you, with the token, we'll be rolling that out, like I mentioned. And then later on in the year, I think we'll do another round of funding, a seed round, probably like in the fall. And then we'll follow that up with doing like a public token launch, definitely in 2023. And then as far as features on the app, so a lot of things we're trying to roll out this year are like deeper courses, like bigger courses, in live courses, like live cohort courses. And if everyone's not familiar with that terminology, what that means, it's just a cohort course is like a course you have in school where at the beginning of the year you have 20 people in your class, and then all 20 of you go each day to class or go each week to your class. So it's similar. So we have classes already planned for February, like one in AR and VR and another on personal branding. Then we have one on AI coming up in 3D like the next month. And those will be like classes where you join, and then there's like a maximum of 20 people in the class, and you meet 4 times a month. So once a week, and it's 90 minutes each time. So it's 60 minutes of curriculum and then 30 minutes of asking questions. I mean, we've done some of these already. We've done like NFT courses with like high school classes and stuff, and it's pretty cool. It's really fun. So we'll be rolling out more of those, as well as workshops too. And I think workshops are super important, because then if you do take a course on a particular topic, a workshop is almost like the lab that goes along with a science class. If you take physics or something like that, then you go and have the lab. So I think the workshop is really solidifies some of the learnings that you pick up, because you get to then actually see how things are implemented. But I'll take a step back. The reason we're going with that, so like the initial goal of our platform, like on the top level, we have like the short form content where we have very short courses that are like TikTok style, like short videos or carousels, like TikTok or like Instagram Reels or Stories. And that just gets people in to discover like a broad range of topics. So we cover like a lot of things. So that's if you're a young student or a learner or someone in a career and you want to change careers or like upskill, you can come into our platform and try all kinds of different things. You could say, oh, I'm interested in AI or logo design or Solidity development or who knows what else. And you can come in and you can try all these little short courses and you have quizzes and you earn an NFT. And I think as you do all that and you discover things, then you'll just naturally say, I don't think I like that topic. I don't want to be like a logo designer, but I think I really like, I don't know, music, like making music NFTs or writing or something like that. And then once you find something you're interested in, then what we do not have now, but we're working on rolling out is like then deeper curriculum on that particular topic. And that's what the cohort classes and the workshops are that I mentioned. Another really cool feature we're rolling out is called instant answers. So I think I'm most excited about this one, but that's like if you have a question for the instructor of a course or a brand, not necessarily a brand, but I'm sure everyone's seen this before. Like you follow someone on Instagram or TikTok who is like an influencer in something you're interested in. Like I'll just keep using, or like development or something. So if someone has a course on, or DeFi or say something like that, so you're interested. And then if you have questions, you may not know where to go. Sometimes you might want to ask that person, the creator who created the course or whatever it is that you just read or viewed. And then, but our instant answers feature allows you to ask that person a question and then get a video response from them. But that is a paid feature, but you could still use, or you can use your tokens for it if you've earned tokens. For example, yeah, if there's something on DeFi and you want to ask the creator on Continuum, like some specific question that you weren't clear on, like in their course, you could do that and then pay like $15 and then they'll answer you with a video response, like a 2-minute long video response. And then you have 2 follow-up questions you can ask them like via text or like direct message. I know we're interested in that. That seems like something that people will use a lot because I've used things like that. And creators are very interested in it too, because what we've heard from creators is people ask them so many questions like through DMs, but they can't answer everybody. But they're saying like if they could monetize it with a small amount, that would motivate them to answer all those questions for people. And I don't know, I just think it could be interesting. So we'll see. And that will roll out, like, I think within the next couple months. So probably still at the end of this quarter.
Nice. So cohort classes by next month, and then there's also instant answers, which is a really cool feature.
Yes.
I was also thinking, like, just brain farting, would there be any integrations with ChatGPT for Continuum's app?
Yeah, we already talked about that. I'd really like that because I think for course creation, I think it makes sense because if you don't know where to start with a course or you need some help with ideation or structure or whatever it might be, because obviously ChatGPT can do everything. I think it'd be good to have integration with it, like how Notion launched their Notion AI, where they use it as a co-pilot, as people say. But yeah, I think that's key. Yeah, so I do want to roll that out. And that's something we talked about. We don't have an exact place in our roadmap for that, but that's something I would definitely like to do sooner than later. I really got just massively sucked into the ChatGPT rabbit hole myself. Yeah, I use it like a lot, like every day for all different types of things, but I really like it. So I think it's just super useful. And it's also obviously it's going to be such a huge part of our future. Look how quickly it just became known and how it's like everybody's using it. It's like having a real and huge impact already. So I think, people need exposure to that within our app.
Yeah, nice. And okay, cohort classes. Would there be any, I guess, you also mentioned you guys will even work with schools to carry out NF courses. Is that in real life? Or how do you guys go about doing that?
Oh, do you mean, was it in person? Did we go there or anything? Or was it?
Yeah. Was it an in-person class or was it virtual or just purely through the app?
Oh, they were virtual. Yeah, not through the app, but we will be doing it through the app. But yeah, those were virtual, like we did them with Zoom. And we actually did, in one case, we did happen to have someone go into the classroom one time, but that's just because one of the instructors lived in Los Angeles where the school was. So that was cool. It was like a special day. But Excuse me. But yeah, those will all be live. I think those are super important because I think that's one of the biggest things when you do research on online courses and things like that. The biggest negative to that, to the online courses is like the loneliness factor. So I think cohorts and workshops definitely address that issue and bring everyone together so you feel like you're not doing this alone. So yeah, I think those are a key part of that, or that's a key benefit of those types of things.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, other than that, what I mentioned regarding the school is because like I was wondering if would there be any future partnerships with other educational institutions or other companies for your content.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I would love that. So let me take a minute to talk about our whole vision for Continuum. So just see, like, we see it as like a global vocational school for the next generations of digital workers, which is going to be like most of the population because everything we're shifting toward knowledge work or digital work. And it's mirroring what happened 120 years ago in many countries, like with when the industrial revolution came around, a lot of factories came around and there was like a huge need for people to get vocational training for doing those types of jobs. So when we say vocation, we just basically mean skills for a particular job versus, and I think I touched on this when I was in Singapore when I did that little talk about saying what you learn in a university is different because you learn critical thinking and knowledge and things like that, which are, of course, important. But our focus is really on vocations and doing something where you can get a job and make a living from literally anywhere. Because even like with the generations or up until now, even if you do if you do remote work, a lot of times people are, like to use Africa as an example again, or Nigeria, people would be leaving like their rural areas and they would be coming into Lagos or something like that. But I think with what we're doing, we're trying to promote to where people stay where they are because then they can build up those areas so they can get a job, and not have to move into like their nearest biggest city. And then I think over time that will help them like build up those areas instead of, because they call that brain drain. I don't know if you've heard that term, but they do that in the United States. Like people leave rural areas because they go to the cities to get jobs, but now you don't have to do that anymore. And then I think, and that's the reason why some of these areas where people leave become, I guess, not impoverished. I guess they just don't grow that much because everyone that gets an education leaves those areas, so they don't build up those areas. But I think that's what we're trying to do with Continual, where like people can stay where they are and then just build like a better global like society that way, like where, and then I think that also is going to affect things. So in the United States, if people do that, if people aren't moving, like I did that, like I grew up in an area called Wisconsin, which is I grew up in a city, but it's still not like a big city, not like a major city, not like New York or Los Angeles or anything like that. And then my wife grew up like more in a rural area, but people leave those areas too and they go to the big cities. But if people in the US stay in those places and get jobs, they don't need to make like such ridiculous amount of money. Like the only people that get paid so much in the United States are typically the ones that go to New York or Los Angeles or San Francisco or Miami. That's because the cost of living in those places is so high that if you live there and someone needs to hire you, they have to pay you so much because you have to be able to afford to live there. But now if people are staying where they are in the United States, which happened because of COVID, but people moved back to where they grew up in rural areas or less expensive areas, I think we could see that the pay doesn't have to be so high, so that can drop down. And then I think that when that happens, that will normalize, that can benefit in developing countries because then I think those salaries can come up a little bit. So I just think it'll become like more, I don't know if equity or equality is the right word, but anyway, I think they'll become more of closer to each other. I think we'll end up seeing like a global average income for certain trades. I think it just needs to be like to flatten the curve a little bit, so to speak, which I think is a good thing because then I don't know. I just think it'll be really good. We could bring our cost of how much we make in like developing countries down a little bit, and then that I think can help people in developing countries have their income go up a little bit, and I think that would be a really great thing.
Yeah, that is definitely the grander vision, and you guys are helping accelerate remote work and making sure those even in developing countries are getting the education necessary to do that. Yeah, I guess next thing maybe would it make sense for Continuum to also build like a job portal for remote work in that case, since you guys are already providing the education to do?
Yeah, I think that's a natural next step and something we thought about. But yeah, just to have, especially since we have like on-chain credentialing. So if you say, I've taken all these courses and you can see
Oh
it
yeah,
in my wallet.
with the
Yeah,
NFTs we collect after each course.
yeah, exactly. So I think someone could, yeah, if someone, I think it'd be a great thing for an employer to come on and say, oh, okay, I can just go through and I can see, I don't have to have people tell me they've done this type of work and I have to take their word for it necessarily. But I can actually look at their wallet and look and see what things they've done on chain. And I think that's, yeah, that's really good. And then they could search that. Yeah. And then we could charge something. Again, happy to charge companies and not charge learners in as many cases as possible. But yeah, I think that'd be really interesting. So especially if you could filter results and say, okay, I want to look at everyone's wallet and I'm looking for someone who's whatever, a Rust developer who's done like 10 projects and who's worked with other people, because you could see all that stuff on chain. So I think that'd be really interesting and a good way to find people and just say, okay, you're hired, you have all the proof, all that proof that you have the skills that we need, and then just go from there. So I think it's a pretty interesting opportunity there.
Nice. Yeah, I guess to round things up for what lies ahead for Continuum token, the ability to convert gems to for the inner community would happen next week. Cohort classes and more content in February, and instant answers, which would be very cool. Having your influencers and content creators reply to your queries ASAP. Is that a good roundup of, I guess, what Continuum would be doing for 2023?
Yep, I think that's
Nice,
a good
nice.
summary.
Okay, cool. And yeah, I guess for Bluejay, I'll just share a bit just to tease because I don't think I'm allowed to talk about the product yet.
Oh,
But we are, just to give a brief intro, we are doing stablecoins for Southeast Asia. And with that, we are trying to build an ecosystem where the stablecoins can be used. So currently, we only have SGD, but we'll be working on PHP and the Indonesian dollar as well. And for that, the ecosystem, currently we are partnering with other protocols to build it out. Companies like Request Finance, which help stream payments. Companies like Subera, which help with building on-chain subscription payments. And yeah, while those get built out, we are also going to build our own products that allow you to use the stablecoin and earn some yield, which is key in crypto. What we saw was with DeFi use now, especially with crypto lending, is fully or over collateralized. Those yields have went down to 1 to 2% even for stablecoins. So if you look at MakerDAO, most of their yield comes from real world asset lending now because those actually provide a much higher return on an annual basis. And with Ondo Finance, as of last week, they were building out on-chain treasury bonds, which allow use of up to 5 to 8%, which is already far surpassing what DeFi use can provide at this point in time. So yeah, we're just bullish on real asset lending and bringing all more loan types into crypto. So with the downfall of FTX, Maple Finance also went down. A good chunk of their loans got defaulted because of that. But that's due to the fact that actually most of the loans from previous those who like Maple Finance, TrueFi, Goldfinch, their loans are mainly from crypto institutional trading firms. So it's very correlated when, let's say, crypto goes down, those companies go down, and those loans get affected. But yeah, if you have loans which are totally uncorrelated, some of which like Goldfinch, where they have loans to SMEs in Southeast Asia and Latin America, those are still doing well and earning on their side is I think 18% APY. And yeah, moving maybe towards like what I mentioned earlier on those treasury bonds. So we'll be trying to provide loan types that are totally uncorrelated to crypto. Yeah, and hopefully that helps with bringing you to the stablecoins we built and yeah, providing more options in terms of DeFi users who would like to find you on chain. Yeah, so I guess that's a quick tease of what we are building towards.
That's cool.
Yeah. If not now, actually, oh yeah, Jason, how are you guys giving out the rewards in terms of gems?
Oh, sure. How do
Did Brian
they?
discuss that?
Oh, go ahead. Oh, what do you mean? What, like amount, or how do we actually like? distributing them? Or?
Yeah, how you guys distribute
Oh, yeah,
for the
sure.
listeners?
Yeah, so those are like a virtual currency within an app. So it's just like a game or something like that if you get. So you earn a certain amount for each action that you take in the app, and then those just go into your account like a virtual currency. So that's completely like off chain with that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, I meant for the Twitter Spaces.
Oh,
Brian
sure. Oh,
mentioned.
yeah. Sorry, Brian can answer that more. Yeah, we usually do. Good point. I think you must have an account and then we award the gems that way, correct? Because we can't do an airdrop of them
Okay.
because they're not an actual
Yeah.
cryptocurrency. Yeah, Brian, you want to
Okay.
take
I
that one?
see.
Are you there, Brian? Or no, maybe not.
Yeah, I invited him to speak. He should be able to.
Oh, okay.
But they're just here.
He's probably smoking a cigarette.
Hi guys, hi. Sorry
Hi,
about that
Brian.
noise. Hi.
It's okay.
Yeah. So you for the ones that are eligible to receive gems, you guys have to create an account on Continuum, and you have to provide me with your username, and we will do it on the back and reward you some gems. Yep.
Yeah, I see. So maybe DM the Continuum account or send screenshots to
Yes,
tagging the Continuum account.
just send screenshots to the this Twitter space link by replying to this Twitter space, and yeah, we can track it from there.
Nice. And I guess to wrap this up also, for Bluejay, we are giving out 5 blue to anyone who asks a question. Currently, there's only one question asked by, who's that? Jing An, regarding the market situation. Continuum be launching the token soon on DEX or SEX? Yeah.
Oh, sure. So our plan is, so we're working with a market maker, GSR, who is an investor in us as well. So if you want to Google them, they're like a pretty big market maker, like something like Jump Trading or Wintermute. So they're a similar type of company if you're familiar. But yeah, they'll be launching us on a centralized exchange, so on a SEX later in the year. And I'm not sure the plan is, we have a list of tier 1, tier 2, like centralized exchanges that we'll shoot for. So it all depends at the time and whether or not we do one or multiple. We'll see at the time, and hopefully market conditions will be better like later in the year. But we're pretty confident it should do well anyway because we do have a solid platform with a lot of people using it and utility, and it's a real product. Because so often a lot of things that launch, a lot of tokens that launch are related to products that like haven't launched yet or don't have users or really or don't have a product or a plan for it or anything like that. So I think we'll be in good shape when the time comes.
Nice. Yeah, so I guess if any more of you have questions, you can request to speak or also send us a tweet. Yeah, we'll be giving 5 blue to whoever who asks a question. If not, it will just be Bet Jing An NFT who will receive that. So for that, if you don't mind Bet Jing An, just drop me your wallet address via the DMs, and yeah, we'll settle that ASAP. Oh, Flo Guo has a question. I'm sorry if I butchered that. Yeah, what areas of digital vocational training does Continuum specialize in, if any? Is there an amount of social capital that one needs to amass prior to creating a course? Oh, okay. So 2-part question.
Sure. I would say for the first, like what we're focusing on is definitely like what we see in the marketplace. So, well, right now the niche we're focusing on that we know best is like design. So like freelance design, like web design, UX, UI design, illustration, animation, motion graphics. That even goes over a little into creative fields related to AR and VR, creative writing and development. So that's primarily what we're looking at now, which does cover a lot. But I think actually the focus right now is primarily on, I guess, visual design, just so we can focus a bit more on that. But yeah, there's demand for a lot of other things. Oh, and then a lot of people that are looking for education, like as designers in the creative space, there's a lot of crossover for like Web3 stuff because everyone generally wants like especially with NFTs and things like that, because they can relate to visual arts. Or there's also like just becoming more, I guess, red pilled on Web3 stuff in general. So there's space and you can get jobs for Web3 companies if it's even in the realm of design. And let me think, what else is there related to that? I forgot what I was going to say, but yeah, I guess it's a primary thing right now. Yeah, and the Web3 thing. And I think AI stuff, there's a big demand for that as well. So we're definitely talking about like how you can compete, like how you can use AI to basically keep your job or to like not have it take your job. things like that. And as far as like social capital required if you are a creator, that's definitely, if by that you mean, yeah, if you have, is it going to be easier for you to become a creator on our platform if you have 50,000 followers or something on social media? I would say yes, but not just because you have the followers, because it probably is like an indicator that the content that you're making is of good quality if you have that many followers. But really, we just look at the content or the quality of the content and maybe your background in that specific field that you're talking about. Yeah, so that's. Oh, and then sorry, I remember what I was going to say. Another thing related to what we're focusing on now is everything is pretty much largely freelancing. So we do talk about like personal finance related to freelancing, like how to run a business, just the minimal things you need to do, keep track of your financing and paying your taxes and things like that, and not to be frivolous. I think in the United States, as a popular thing, there's a lot of people lack just general skills with managing their own finances. And I think a lot of people that grow up with less money in the United States, for whatever reason, might have a hard time getting out of that or getting out of that situation even when they do make money, because they didn't learn just basic personal financial skills that will help them not blow all of their money. So we're trying to educate people on that as well.
Wait, Floco, you can speak as well.
Sweet. Thanks so much, Jason, for information. That's really interesting. I was wondering, what exactly is the onboarding pipeline for a creator to create their own course? I'm not actually quite familiar with Continuum, to be completely honest.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So the first thing is, if you create an account and you're in our app, you can, within your profile, we have like a button that says apply to be a creator. And then once you do that, it goes in the queue with us. We do have like a big list though. It's like 1,000 people, like our wait list for creators. But like, obviously, if you DM us or something, and then I just saw you tweet something about us. So like, we know who you are. Like, you could definitely talk to us and we could fast track that. But then so the process is, if you feel there's a course you want to make on something, just propose it. We do have a Notion that we could send you that sort of outlines like our expectations for a course and how those things are broken down and some of the vocabulary we use. So we have a course, it's comprised of lessons, and you can have a carousel or a video. So things like that. We ask for a certain amount of questions after the end of each lesson. Lesson should be like a certain length and no longer like a video. It should be like 90 seconds long, or a carousel course should have something like 15 slides and not more than that. So there's things like that as far as like the structure of it goes. But then what happens is you can create your own course in the app. And then once you do, you submit it for review. And then, we just take a look at it and we say, oh, this is great. And then we release it or let it be published. Or we say, oh, maybe change this or that or something. And then go, and that's about it. And usually the only thing we turn it down for, it's like, we don't get into the middle of an opinion on what the quality or the content of what you're teaching, but it's usually if things are like gimmicky or self-promotional. I think in the past we've had, like when we first started, you'd have people creating a course on like how I made $67,500 in one day and blah blah stuff. Like we don't allow things like that. Or if something is like overly self-promotional, like in the beginning we had some people post stuff where it was just like, okay, go to my Instagram, go to my TikTok, go to my YouTube. You can put all those links in your profile, which is fine. We don't mind anyone going off there, but it's like the content itself should be highly educational and not like promotional in and of itself. That's about it.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks so much. I was also wondering, with respect to the incentive structure, how are creators compensated?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's the end of the question.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, so there's a few ways. So of the creator rewards or the community rewards that we have in the platform, most go to learners, but 20% of that is allocated to rewards for creators. So anytime you create a course that gets approved, like you get XP in gems and then eventually tokens for that. The more popular that your content is, the more tokens you'll get for that. The more you answer questions or engage with your people that are taking your course. Because on a course, you can have discussions. People can ask you questions or whatnot within the space, within the context of a course, like similar to like a TikTok or something. So you get rewarded for that as well. You get rewards for inviting people to the platform. And then there are ways for you to where you can charge people for things. So we do ask that everyone that comes on the platform that's a creator has a lot of free content. We don't put like an exact amount on there, but it should be like a significant amount. We have a few courses or something like that. But then if you do want to have premium offerings, you could do that as well. So say you already have an existing or cohort course or whatnot that you do every 3 months and you have that on Kajabi. You can list that on Continuum and you can charge for that too. If you do want to use our payment system where you want people to pay like with credit card or with crypto, you can do that. And I think it increases the conversion rate. Like we think you get more clicks that way. And then, but if you process the payment through us, then we keep 10% of that. And we also would keep, you can do the instant answers that we mentioned. If you let anyone ask you a question, that's done as an in-app purchase. So if someone wants to pay $15 to ask you a question, we get 10% of that. You get the rest, and then you'll see as a DM that question, and then you can just record a 2-minute video response to that, and then you get paid for that. And so I think I covered everything on how you get rewards there. Yeah, I guess I could touch on one third option, but we were not going to be rolling this out for quite a while, but we are actually intend to create the content that's on the platform. So if you create a course, you can mint that as an NFT, and the way we have it set up is it will be a fractionally owned NFT. So if you were trying to raise money for a course or something, let's say you wanted to do a photography course or something, and it required you to buy some equipment, you needed like a couple $1,000s or $5,000 or something, you could create the course on our platform and then ask for people to buy into that. So it's a fractionally owned NFT. So you could say, hey, I'm trying to raise $5,000 to create this course. I have 20% of my course available for purchase as a fractionally owned NFT, and then you can allow people to buy into that. But then once they do that, if you have people collectively put in $5,000 into your course, and then after that, if your course earns any tokens or fiat or anything, then the people that put in that money, if they have 20% of the ownership of the NFT, they would then get 20% of the rewards for that. But that's something that would be like 2024. But it is something we've gone through and like hashed out and like how we would develop that and stuff. But so that's everything.
Thanks so much for sharing. I have one last question, time permitting.
Huh? I'm good on time. I don't know
So,
Anthony as a Bluejay, but
Yeah, I'm cool.
okay.
I don't sleep much. Let's go.
I appreciate it. Sorry. So from my understanding, it seems that Continuum exists as a full stack creator to like consumer educational platform. And I'm wondering how it differentiates itself from other popular course platforms like Masterclass.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think it's easy to differentiate ourselves from that. Masterclass is like very expensive and it has that celebrity factor. I think tying back to our vision, which I touched on before, like I really want to see Continuum as like a community, like the first place that anyone goes in the world as like their first step toward getting education on anything like vocational to do with making a living. It's like a jumping off point, at least. I think we'll offer a ton of value within the platform itself, but then we're also not against people jumping off to somewhere else. So if someone did have a really great, say if someone's a creator on Continuum and had all kinds of great free things for people, but then also said, hey, I have a $5,000 or whatever, $3,000 masterclass on Masterclass or whatever, and they use Continuum as like their like sales funnel for, I have 1,000 free students and I have 100 people that pay for my instant answers, and then I might get 10 people every month that want to sign up for my masterclass. Like, I think that's fine. I think that all works well. I think we just want to make sure people have the opportunity for free education and that they're actually earning money. That's one thing I didn't mention before. Like, I didn't finish, I guess, when I was saying like $80 a month. So I think it'd be really interesting for people like high school age, or I guess it doesn't have to be that age, but in developing countries where they can actually get that stipend or like that universal basic income of that $80 a month as a goal, where they can just focus on, okay, I'm going to take like 4 to 6 months and I get this bit of payment, and where I can just really focus on my studies, do everything, and then can jump into the job market after that. So it takes some of the pressure off, I think. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. And then, yeah, once they're doing well, then of course, then if they want to keep sharpening the saw or upskilling more, and there are things that are paid, I don't see, yeah, why not? And another big thing I really want about the community, I should probably practice talking about this more so that it comes across more clearly or succinctly. But the community aspect of it is one thing we really love. So if people come through and they are learning on the platform, and then after 6 months they're working, they're gainfully employed as a contractor or whatnot, doing the work that they've learned about, then we really incentivize them to stay in the community and then to help with the next generation or the next group of people that are coming into what they've done, their courses they've taken, but now coming in as like a brand new learner, and then where they can mentor them and help them. And that's what I really love to see, like just cycles of that, where it's like very community based, and then just everyone's kind of growing that way. So I think that would be really cool. We're really trying to incentivize that. So
Sick. Yeah. Thanks so much.
sure. All right.
Yeah, thanks, Flo. Wait, sorry.
Yeah,
How
great
do I,
questions.
How do I
Thank
say
you.
your name? Flo Guo. Okay, but yeah, thanks for your questions, and those were really great questions. Yeah, and I guess that's a nice way to wrap things up. Flo Guo, just send us your wallet address as well. We'll drop you some blue probably in the morning, and same for Bat Jing An. Yeah, and yeah, do download Continuum's app and get started with your courses on your gems and XP and NFTs. And yeah, really looking forward to what each of us are going to be building for the year ahead. And thanks again, Jason, for your time, and Brian as well.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having us, and thanks for giving us so much time to talk about what we're doing. And thank you.
Yeah, no worries, man. Really love what you guys are doing, and yeah, hopefully by that. Yeah, I'm here. You have something to say?
I
Right?
guess not.
Okay. But yeah, thanks for dropping by, Brian.
Well, does anyone else have any questions?
I hope everyone follows Anthony on social media so he can see how many pull-ups he does every day. He's really good at it. I'm jealous. I used to be able to do a lot. Now I can't. I can't do a lot. But you're inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Yep.
Yeah, sadly I don't attach my Instagram to my Twitter, but yeah. Thank you.
Yep. All right, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Flo, for your amazing questions. And yeah,
Yes.
thanks everyone else for staying tuned and listening the whole way. Yeah, rest well. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, wherever you are.